There may be some more games. There may be some probably head-to-head is normally the first tiebreaker if it's like a two-way tie, but sometimes tournaments are different. Like if you tie for fourth and fifth, where it's the difference between starting upper bracket or lower bracket, often they'll like TI always makes you play more games in that situation.
Everybody loves more games. I'm always down. As much Dota as possible. Keep the schedule full.
Yeah, still another Viper pick. We saw one yesterday against the Tide Hunter with the break mechanic, the new Nether Toxin. It's received some, I say new, it's been around for a while, but it actually recently got some buffs into its damage as well as AoE. So Viper seems like a very strong hero. I'd say his main weakness to me is still his laning stage, where this is not the Viper of a couple years ago where he destroys his mid matchup against every hero. He actually struggles a bit in terms of the last hit battle against many mids.
And we really saw Viper dominate that game that we saw him in. It was just like when laying down the Nether Toxin, being able to just hit so hard on the heroes he was up against. And Shadow Fiend is not something I've seen, I think, at all so far, at least personally, up to this point. And then Venomancer getting picked up. I think he was played by Virtus Pro when they lost the one game I got to cover theirs yesterday.
Yeah, I think this might be the first Shadow Fiend of the tournament so far, so something a bit new and different coming out. Venomancer as well. We haven't seen much of him. I think there's been maybe one or two games of Veno.
And it's Veno, Viper, Sven, Keeper of the Light. Does that put Veno in a 4 spot and Keeper of the Light in a 5 spot, or is it Viper mid, maybe Sven safe lane and Veno off lane?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't believe in Veno as a. I mean, Veno as a one position only makes sense if your mid really scales well, and Viper is not that. So, I think they're looking to last pick a carry here. That's what RNG's thinking. They ban out the Luna. Viper should be the mid, unless teams suddenly think, I mean, I mentioned his weak laning. Maybe Viper's actually theoretically like a safe lane hero because of his weak mid laning skills. I don't know, but it should be Viper mid, Veno Sven as like a.
5 seconds.
I want to say Veno core. I don't think Veno support makes sense, and that means Sven Coddle as your 2 supports.
Yeah, we used to see a lot more Sven 4. He's kind of moved up in the world. He got a promotion into the 3 after, I would say, maybe getting demoted from the 1 spot to the 4 spot that we saw him in. But he feels good in a 4 still, I'd say, because, he's still giving you that control. Stormhammer does a decent amount of damage. He's able to almost kind of transition as well into a core if the game goes long enough.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that's these 3 position Svens have been doing some good damage when they scale late. But I don't know if it's a support in the 4 position, could do. But some teams for a while were just doing this 5 position Sven, and that never seemed to get too much in the way of items. But we'll see what EHOME want to do. They could even run it as a safe lane. The Sven as a 1 position doesn't sound all too bad. What does Innocence want to pick for them, though?
Their drafts, and I hate saying something I've made fun of before, seem very wings with Zhao 8 and Jin Q, where they're just kind of playing it all over the place. Having fun, experimenting a little bit, playing these synergies that maybe we haven't seen in a while.
Dire team pick.
And they go Tiny, so that could be, yes, Sven safe lane, Jin Q maybe off lane Tiny, but we've been seeing more Tiny in the 4 position with Boots, and Arc Warden picked up for RNG. And it's...
Okay, Arc Warden.
Ego on the Venomancer, Zhao 8 on the Viper. 5, yeah, it's a 5 position Sven.
Yeah, this is more what we saw in like the 7.20. When Sven first had his Warcry changes, it was like, okay, Sven, you're a 5 position now. You've got this good little early to mid game armor buff. You've got a good reliable stun. Go play support for us.
Yeah, so that leaves Jin Q on the Tiny, which I know they played like early in the tournament or their first game that was on the main channel. And it's Jin Q is probably one of his best heroes, is the Tiny. And then you've got Ego on the Venomancer, Zhao 8 Viper, remaining. Innocence on the Sven, and Tian Ming on the Keeper of the Light, which, when I think Tian Ming, I feel like he's more aggressive, roaming, and playmaker. I don't really see that much in a Keeper of the Light, but, I mean, I'm always down to see hero pools expand, so show me to be wrong, Tian Ming, please. But RNG, they go Monet on the Arc Warden, Setsu playing the Shadow Fiend, Lanham on the Brewmaster, Afu on the Dazzle, Flyby back on that Night Stalker in the offlane.
Yeah, we'll see how he does again on the Night Stalker RNG. You know, these guys are on the up and up. They could find themselves in the winner bracket if they keep this momentum going with these wins they've been picking up. So excited to see them performing so well. I feel like Lanham for a while has just been like struggling to find that new home. He had that poor run with Vici Gaming at TI, and since then he's been kind of hopping from team to team a bit, but this new crew may work out well for him.
Yeah, he was most recently with Deathbringer Gaming, which, involved IG's OP, and then you have Kama, who used to play for VGJ Thunder, and as well as having HYM on that team. Like, that was a team that I really thought was going to perform much better than they did. A bunch of stars on there.
Bad results, unfortunately.
Yeah, and him coming over to RNG can definitely make a difference, so we'll see.
So far, so good here for RNG at this tournament. They've had a few losses, but they've had some very big upset wins as well. So we'll see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, this is also... What's great about this tournament here for RNG is, the fact that they qualified first for the minor. And when you come into your first minor, I feel like their first DPC event of the season this late, there's a lot of pressure that's going to build up with that, where you don't have as many opportunities available to get points and to maybe secure a spot at TI. As Flyby in trouble for a moment, the Stormhammer came out, and they should have the damage to get this first blood. Innocence is the one who grabs it. Ego's probably going to trade his life here. He just stands and bangs there with Monet. And then they go after Innocence, but through the trees he'll go and back towards the tower, so he's able to escape. And
they had 4 heroes. Like he's just standing there like, oh, my team's coming, I'll bait this. But he gives up first blood, so EHOME will be very happy with that, considering it was a 2v4 and they got the first blood.
Yeah, Ego goes down, but getting that first blood I think is fine for them in that spot. And let's see how these lanes kind of pan out. It looks like they're going to send Zhao 8 to the safe lane and have Jingqiu mid on this Tiny.
They're doing some lane swaps. Looks like Monet's even sitting mid, waiting to figure out what the lanes are. That's what Lanham's doing. He's down bottom trying to scout out the lanes on his Brewmaster. He wants to see which heroes are down here, who we're going to be up against, and then the Arc Warden's like, okay, I know which lane I want to go to, and it looks like Arc Warden is going to be headed top, I think, since that's the easier lane for him. He's still a bit unsure. He's really not committing to anything quite yet.
Tianming coming over. As Flyby's here with Monet, they won't be able to get a kill, though.
I mean, Monet's being zoned a bit, but he's got the Spark Wraith, so he's pretty hard to fight into.
Yeah, so Tianming, he can only just walk away for at least a moment.
Yeah. He's the long walk down bottom for Night Stalker, but he'll go to the lane he wants to be.
Tries to get a drag there on those creeps, but only pulls 2, and then they actually end up going back to the lane anyway, so not doing exactly the job that he would have wanted to drag them over and get them behind the tier 1. But meanwhile, Innocence trading shots here with Afu, and he'll TP over towards top, so they'll send 3 heroes here so far.
Yep. They really want to pressure the Arc Wardens early game. This is one of the weaker parts of the Arc Warden game is the laning stage, so committing 3 heroes to dealing with Monet is the name of the game. We may see Monet TP down bottom, but the issue is if he does, he can get chased down there. Sven, his TP's on cooldown, but the Venno and Coddle can rotate theoretically if they want to.
So a little bit of a swap in terms of supports. Tianming comes over bottom to help out Zhao 8, and that's Innocence here towards top. He still has a Mango, so only 100 mana at the moment. We'll have just enough for a stun in a second, and then a Mango to recover enough for a second stun if need be. But for right now, he'll pull the creep wave, so doing what Ego needs to kind of get that creep equilibrium back on his end and farm up a little bit more.
Yep. Yeah, so far, things going pretty evenly in the mid lane as well, which is good news for SF, who wants to get those early souls, and once he has them, the lane gets a whole lot easier. If he can farm up for this bottle without getting pressured too much, he'll be in good shape, but Tiny, the Haste Rune, is looking to cause some problems.
Q looking for an opportunity. He's gone 2 into the Avalanche, none of the toss and 1 into having that tree grab. Avalanche comes out, does a lot of damage on Setsu. He has to be careful. He's forced to use that salve immediately.
Yeah. Just got to respect the fact that SF, if you dive that tower and you get hit by like a raise or two, you can very quickly go down. So he doesn't want to really risk it. And he does want to put Setsu under a little bit of pressure, but unfortunately for him, Setsu's already just about got enough for his bottle. So yeah, he's just going to raise a range creep and get the money he needs for his bottle. Because he knows once he has this, he can control this lane very well in the Shadow Fiend.
Meanwhile, Zhao 8, Lanham dying over towards top, and Arc Warden was now shifting over towards bottom, which gave him that opportunity. He's here with Flyby. They go after Zhao 8. Afu moving forward, and I mean, they lose the Brewmaster top, but they get a kill over bottom on the Zhao 8.
Yeah, this is the, I mean, I mentioned the Viper may be more suited to this side lane role just because he doesn't do well in most mid 1v1 matchups, which is what we're seeing here. I hadn't seen it until this game, but at the same time, he's still not a strong laner in the side lanes. He's just a little bit better than he'd otherwise be. And watching Zhao 8, he looks a little bit rusty. He's missing some last hits. You know, he hasn't been playing competitive Dota for a while, and also coming into play as a core rather than, you know, a support or something is a very big difference.
He's got to hone the skills of the days past.
Yeah, I mean, he's had his time, like, if you go way back, he played mid for a while. He even played off lane, so it wasn't until more recently when he was playing competitive towards the end of his career where he was primarily a support. But Zhao, it was always a fairly flexible player when it came to his role.
Well, he was playing support, I would say, most recently was, what, with Big God? Or was it that long ago, or has it been more recent than that?
Yeah, I think Big God or whatever, like some of those kind of meme teams. Like, I mean, I don't really consider those, I guess, real competitive teams, but Lanham top.
Yeah, again, over top in a lot of trouble. Ego is taking a couple of shots. He feels a little bit uncomfortable, but he knows Innocence has got the damage. The Warcry is going to keep him alive, and they'll get yet another kill here onto this Brewmaster top, which is nice.
Yep. I think for Zhao 8, he's just always been really good on the, like, strategic tempo controller roles. Like when he won TI as an offlaner, when he was playing on Newbie at TI4, it was like after that where he kind of switched back to playing support more. But when he was on LGD before that, he was playing mid, when it was like him, mid, Yao playing offlane. So he's kind of switched between different core roles. But he was never like these greedy mids or these kind of carry style mids. It was always like playing these more team-oriented heroes.
Dire are scanning.
Sometimes I wish for the days past to go back, but Innocence, I think it was tossed and gets the Stormhammer off. Setsu getting ganked real heavily, but meanwhile, bottom, they'll get the kill here on the Zhao 8, so they go over mid, they get a kill, and then bottom, Zhao 8 drops, and it's a trade.
Yep, one of the best ways to deal with an SF is just gank him. He's got no escape, he's got no disables or slows to throw at you. It's, you know, gank an SF, and it's one way to kind of cripple his game a bit because he does lose those souls as well.
Innocence. I don't know if he knows this is coming.
They're gonna
but
find
Afu. It was this standoff of sorts, but the Stormhammer still comes out on the Setsu, and then the Avalanche on top of it, the Warcry. He's able to survive. The Illuminate hits on a couple of these heroes.
He's
oh,
dying? Nope.
Okay. 19 health.
Yeah, just level 1 poison touch, so didn't have the longest duration or damage on it once they weren't right-clicking him.
But, I mean, that was just 30 seconds of them not knowing. He was just in the trees right there. But they didn't see him come down through the river, so they had to assume that he was either still in the lane or TP'd out. They send Afu around back over towards mid. I believe Xingqiu caught a glimpse of that. They also bring Innocence back over. The Poison Touch hits on 2. The Raze comes in with Flyby making the rotation over. But the Stormhammer's going to hit on the Flyby. The 4th hero is here. And now they're under the tier 1 tower trying to get these kills, but it's not enough damage. They look back over as the toss comes through. There's Innocence moving forward. He's got Stormhammer in 4 seconds, but it's not even going to be needed as Setsu bites the dust, and Tian Ming gets credit for that kill. That was 4 heroes coming over for RNG to start that off.
and then 5 from EHOME in response. There was 9 heroes in mid lane. The only person not there was Monet's Arc Warden. We're 7 minutes in, guys. Calm down a little bit. You don't have 5-man lanes yet, but I mean, I don't blame them. Your mid laner's getting 4-man dive. You're going to respond to that, and they sure as hell do.
Get the kill over bottom on a Tianming. Monet is here with the Spark Wraiths, as well as just Flyby, hitting away, and also having that Void. And it looks as though, you know, Xiao 8 coming back over mid, he's doing a lot of damage here to Setsu and kind of taking over. Meanwhile, top, Innocent's over with Ego. They'll get the kill on Alanum, and Xingqiu over bottom ends up dying.
Much bigger kill on the Tiny, though. That's the mid lane Tiny, who's level 7, going down. I like what we're seeing from Flyby this game. He's getting very active and involved. He's been involved in 4 kills already. Much better than the last game. RNG, yeah, they won with his Night Stalker, but it didn't look good in the early to mid game. It took a long time before he could get involved.
Ooh, they find Lanham again. Venomous Gale comes through with the Stormhammer. Just a little bit of harassment coming his way. Meanwhile, Flyby had to leave lane as he was getting a little bit low. 6-5 so far. Top of the net worth is Ego. He hasn't really been too bothered here in this top lane, and he's 2-1-4, so he's been involved in every single kill that EHOME's been a part of, or well, they're had. And again, Lanham in a little bit of trouble with the Stormhammer and the Venomous Gale coming out. That forces 2 rotations over. Well, the second one doesn't come through, but they get the TP out.
It's both Veno, Ego, and the Sven of Innocence who've been in all 6 of these kills. So the 2 players who've kind of set the tempo here in the early game for them. Similar story with some of RNG. Surprisingly, Monet's Arc Warden has been in all 5 of their kills, so partly due to just where they've happened. Dive on top, Afu.
Yeah, they've got Afu with the Avalanche coming through. He's shallow graves, but he doesn't have a TP, so he was looking for some sort of escape, but that was mission impossible there. And it's another kill here for EHOME, and yet another one that Ego's going to be involved in.
Decent chunk of gold for a support kill. Considering he had that 3-hero kill spree, and Tiny gonna be happy with that, as he was starting to fall a little bit behind after his previous death. And EHOME followed up by Ego taking this top tier 1 tower. Well, Night Stalker thought someone was hiding down here, but completely guesses wrong with the Dark Ascension usage. There was nobody down here at all.
So just clean up the creeps and put some pressure on this bottom tier 1 tower. Looks like they're just gonna grab it for free.
I believe Veno has a Midas recipe coming out. Yep, so Ego's gonna be going for a Midas. Let's check on Midas Watch. How many Midases we're looking at? Viper's got one coming. That's probably all for the Radiant, and then Dire side. Night Stalker not going for me. We've only got we've got the 1 on the Arc Warden, so we see 3 Midases this game in total.
Probably the average for what is becoming Midas gaming.
Yeah. And we could see more. We may see like a Brewmaster or Night Stalker. Like I like the item a lot on Night Stalker, but he seems to be committing to smaller items already.
They're still trying to get this tier 1 tower. They've got 4 heroes here. Flyby nearby with Lanham. They have to be careful because the toss comes in, and that's going to be the Stormhammer following it up. But
they can't commit too much on a Brewmaster. He's got Primal Split, so they'll take towers though.
They get that tower. They grab the Midas here on the Xiao 8 the whole time, and they're kind of forcing RNG to be a little bit all over this map, where they brought, what, 3 heroes towards mid, though they didn't defend that tier 1 tower. I mean, that's opening up space for Ego. Yeah, he's gone into the Midas, but this is a lot of farm going his way.
Yeah, you're much more worried, I think, about Monet's Arc Warden. He's got double Midas going. So yeah, there is a 4th Midas. It's Monet with 2, with his clone. So he's going to be power farming his way to the top of the net worth chat. I would say give it, and he's probably going to be at least a couple thousand gold ahead of everyone in the game, unless, you know, EHOME are crushing team fights and taking a lot of towers. So they're going to have to find some way of dealing with this Arc Warden at some point.
It seems like Monet has barely been touched. He hasn't died yet. He's involved in all 5 of the kills that the side of RNG has. It's only 7-5, 12 minutes in, so about a kill a minute. And, well, again, Ego just sitting here over top while the rest of the team is kind of farming away as well.
Happy to just sit in this lane, keep the pressure on this tower. I mean, it's not going down fast, but over time these Venom wards will just keep chipping away at it. Night Stalker down bottom is hunting the Coddle. This is what Coddle can be so good at. No, the Night Stalker can be so good against the Coddle, and he gets out of the Will-O-Wisp, so gets the kill.
And the Will-O-Wisp gets used. Flyby, he also uses his Dark Ascension, though, and they end up getting the kill onto the Coddle. Meanwhile, though, top, I mean, EHOME is pretty deep under this tower as Jingqiu just runs under with haste, finds a Dazzle, gets the kill. Viper Strike's going to be used here on the Night Stalker. They've also got Ego using his ult, so Flyby trying to run away, but there's the toss, and with the break, they get the kill. I mean, that's
poison everywhere. The Venom Viper strats, all the slows, all the toxic Venom just flying around. Nether Toxin poison attacks, Venomous Gales and Poison Stings. Nasty stuff as RNG get caught by surprise up there.
You usually only see this many dots in a game of, like, you know, maybe a WoW raid. It's rare that you see a game of Dota have this much, this many damage over time abilities happening at the same time.
EHOME get the tier 2 tower to follow that one up. Again, it's the Coddle. Again, Ming running into Lanham, and he may get solo killed here by the Brewmaster.
He's eating ults, though.
Suicide.
That's Primal Split Down. And Dark Ascension before.
It is a 4-position Coddle. Like, Coddle's kind of been given the bottom lane to farm and push out, so it's something. Since they want to get these Coddle items up, the Force Staff, the Glimmer Capes, these kind of team items that can help you a lot. But, yeah, eating ultimates for, I mean, they win that top fight because Night Stalker doesn't have ultimate. If he can make it Darkness and get the flying Dark Ascension bonus damage, it would be a very different outcome.
Jingqiu, he finishes off his Midas. You've got Viper with his, as well as Venomancer with his. So I think Jingqiu had Blink queued and then ended up just full out purchasing a Midas.
Now, what are we looking at from some of these other heroes? Monet's got the Maelstrom, so he's farming nice and fast. We'll see how early. He may get the Boots of Travel before he completes the Mjolnir. Having that global mobility is just going to boost his farm even more. This feels like one of those slower games that both teams are going to be farming a lot in, or at least the RNG side is going to be farming a lot in. Here come the bounty runes.
Flyby comes over with the Dark Ascension used, and I mean, that didn't really find much for him.
Yeah, just trying to get the bounty rune, but Xiaowei just says, nah, this is mine. I'm by myself, but I'm going to take this anyways. Here come EHOME, though, into the enemy jungle, but it is now nighttime.
They're wrapping all the way around. They might be able to get a kill on Lanham. He does not have the Primal Split. So a deep ward placed here behind the tier 2 tower, and with that, the Brew actually TPs down towards bottom. And this is opening up a decent chunk of space for EHOME, but at the same time, we were talking about it earlier and kind of bringing it up every so often, Monet's just farming away. And they go with the Will-O-Wisp. There's the toss. Stormhammer coming out on a Setsu. He's got the Yules. He uses it on himself down into the Venomous Gale. The toss once again. The Death Requiem comes through, but it's not going to get a kill. And they get themselves Setsu so far, but Avalanche also comes out, and it's just the Tempest double.
He wants that money. Give me that gold, he says. I believe Coddle got it? The Illuminate? Decent chunk of gold when you kill those.
I like this too. If you want to be able to keep the pressure on, get these towers, kind of choke the map out, so maybe you can find Monet a little bit later.
Yeah, this SF until he has a BKB is going to be very vulnerable in these fights. Ego gets caught out by the Arc Warden here. Can they chase him down? I believe. Yeah, he's just straight up dead. Monet's going to TP home. Nice little solo kill, and yep, talked about this at, give it 5-10 minutes and Monet is going to be topping the net worth chart and starting to get out of control. He's at 9k net worth, 1k-ish above the Veno, and that gap is just going to get bigger and bigger.
And they haven't really done much about this Arc Warden, and if you're EHOME, you should kind of be scared. I mean, he's got the Midas, he's already got Mjolnir. He's 2-0-4. Like, he's done enough right now to put himself almost 2,000 ahead of the next hero in net worth.
Yep. Has the Tempest out for his another double Midas, and well, he was 1k ahead of Venno, now he's almost 2k ahead of Venno. It doesn't take much for him to accelerate. Meanwhile, Venno, who is dead, not going to use his Midas. And Venno's just not a farming hero. He's not moving around the map, doesn't have these right-click items. He's going for the team items, the Force Staff and the Greaves. The worry is very much like, how is Radiant going late game? They have this Midas on Tiny. They went, I guess that's how they're doing it. They're going triple Midas. There's your answer. Triple Midas, let's go late game. I saw Tiny, I'm like, how's this guy scaling? He's got Boots of Travel as his only item. But then, yeah, I guess with a Midas and Viper, Force Staff Midas, these heroes all went for non-carry items, but with a Midas, they're still going to scale very well because they're just going to level a lot faster. They're going to guarantee that they can keep buying more items, even though they don't have carry farming items. Midas just brings you gold. So, you know, they're taking a different approach this game, saying, you know, we're going late game against an Arc Warden. We don't have the better carries, but we're going to have 3 at least.
Any of these heroes? Doesn't look like it. I was looking to see if there's any cooldown reduction, because I was watching Drow yesterday with that 50% cooldown reduction, had a Midas with BKB, and it was just like, that's super efficient when you've got that Midas up, you know, half the time. But I was looking around to see if there was any more, you know, reduction on the cooldowns, and none of the heroes that have the Midas have it.
Well, maybe they just wanted to out Midas the Dire, you know. They're like, okay, Arc Warden, you got 2, that means we need 3 Midases.
Or as I say that, Arc Warden has an 8%, but that's not like 50% that Drow has.
Yeah. Not like the old, like, I mean, even like Enigma and stuff used to go Midas because of that really good cooldown reduction talent. But here we go. What are we in for? Very slow farming game. That's where things are at right now. Innocence will TP into Lanham's Brewmaster, but he actually may be in some trouble, Innocence.
He's got to be careful. Flyby comes over. They've also got Afu. He's right by a shrine that is up in 4 seconds. So maybe he doubles back. He's got the war cry. Xiaowei coming over. Nightstalker has to be a little bit careful. Flyby trying to get out of here, and there's the toss. They've got the Venomous Gale to come out onto Flyby. And
they
Ego.
tried to be out to the high ground.
Yeah, they should be able to get the skill.
Yeah, a bit aggressive. And Lanham not coming in. If you want to go for that kill, I think you just have to use a Brewmaster split. You can't just stand around throwing Cinder Brew and missing your Thunderclap. It's a level 1 Thunderclap, so it wouldn't have made a huge difference, but gotta hit those spells sometimes. But space for Arc Warden, you know. Anytime something like that happens, even though you are losing a 3-position hero, you just look over your Arc Warden, you see him free farming, pushing lanes, double minusing. You see his item progression. You gotta feel pretty good if you're RNG that this game is going at a good pace, because nobody matches up against Arc Warden 1-to-1. The question is going to be whether EHOME can match up to him, like, you know, 3-to-1 or 3-to-2, because SF is also scaling well. It's not just Arc Warden; they've got 2 undealt with carries who are just free farming away.
Yeah, Setsu had a little bit of a rough time in lane, but I mean, since then, since that 3rd death, he hasn't been touched. He's just continuing to farm. He's got a Yule's as well as the BKB going into a Blink Dagger, that Blink Yule's Requiem try. I mean, he is looking quite strong right now. It seems to be what looked to be aggressive from EHOME to start has slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, I think they just don't have good catch is a big part of it. Tiny is the extent of it, and he's got a Blink Dagger now. He went Boots of Travel Midas before he got a Blink, which kind of speaks to their lack of ability to go around finding kills. They were able to go around finding towers. So their aggression came in the form of, you know, 5-manning down a lane, taking some towers out, not so much in the form of getting kills, which this game has been a little bit lacking of.
Yeah, we were averaging 1 for every minute, but it's kind of slowed down, and it's become a little bit of a farming game. And it's still relatively close. Xiaowei as well as Innocence, they're going to be inside the jungle. They spot this huge stack, and maybe they were going to try and contest that, but the Shadow Grave comes out immediately as they're trying to get this Dazzle away. There's the Requiem throw from Setsu, who also has that 10-second BKB. The Spark Wraith is going to be laid down right on top of Zhao Wei. Monade coming over. The Viper Strike is thrown as well as the Storm Hammer. But that's all at the Illusion. And Lanham, he comes through. Meanwhile, off screen, Flyby is going to get the kill on Ego. They continue to chase on to Zhao Wei. They should be able to find this kill. Apu finally falls. The War Cry comes out, so it's keeping him alive a little bit longer. But right there is Flyby with the help of his team. So they're able to take out Zhao Wei. That's going to be 2 heroes dead. Coddle has to be careful of his positioning because he's losing Innocence and now he needs to back off. Jingqiu blinks in, gets the toss, gets the kill on Aladdin. So it's a 2 for 3 so far, and Tian Ming gets the TP out.
Still a 1-5 for RNG. They're 2 carries, like a SF showing up with BKB, Blink double damage, Orc Warden with all his items. It was just too much to deal with. Yeah, those 2 heroes topping the damage from that fight. Night Stalker did a great job as well, just tanking a lot of damage and just being in the front lines, helping set up all those kills. So, successful fight for RNG, but we do see what EHOME can do. It was a very scrappy, all over the place fight. Xingqiu was just on the back lines, wreaking havoc. He basically set up and got all the kills for EHOME in that fight. But he's only going to get scarier, I feel like, as this game goes on.
Yeah, Xingqiu 5-1-4 can't do it all though, and it seemed like Xiao 8, his positioning was right in in between the entire side of RNG. And with that, they also took the stack here. This was like a 3 or 4 stack on the Ancients and a 2 or 3 stack here on the camp above it. A lot going right for RNG after that fight.
Yeah. Well, once again, they, you take a fight and then you can just fall back and keep farming. I don't feel like RNG are looking to take fights and immediately turn it into towers or objectives. They're happy to just keep scaling late game. Their timing is mostly the Arc Warden BKB. He's not in any rush to buy it, but once he gets that, he's pretty unstoppable in these fights. The Viper does have the Aghanim Scepter, so it can slow attack speed and movement speed through BKB, which is kind of nice. But that's really about all they've got.
Mid, just the Tempest double.
While they're fighting it as it expires. RNG's. This is one of the pace of this game really, to me, says they did not buy enough Midases on the Dire side. This Night Stalker, if he had a Midas right now, would be at least 2 levels higher, and would probably have about the same items. He'd probably be finishing his BKB around now. And maybe that's an issue in itself, but he hasn't actually used his BKB, so I think he could have even risked getting his BKB a couple minutes slower and bought a Midas, and he'd be in a way better position.
Do you think it was the right route for Ego to be this heavy on utility, where he's got the Force Staff as well as the Guardian Greaves?
I just don't think Venno is very good with damage items anymore. He used to have like a plus 50 or plus 60 damage talent, and you could go like this Hurricane Pike BKB right-click build, but his talents have changed so that he's better with the utility build, it feels like. I don't know about going full like pipe and stuff. I'd almost rather see like an Ags or something to get some damage, but I don't think you can go like right-click damage on this hero.
And that Spark Wraith actually reveals the position here of Tian Ming, and he's in a lot of trouble, but then the Yules comes out with a Requiem right on top of Ego. He's already out of this fight, and then the Raises come in. They'll get the kill on Innocence. The silence is through onto Xiao 8, but the BKB being popped here by Flyby. I mean, they were looking for more. They got 2 quick ones in the bag here for RNG, and I mean, they are very much leading this game. And it may only say 4,000 net worth, but it feels a lot more than that.
I mean, all this 6,000 gold in Midas on the EHOME side. RNG, they've got 2,000 gold worth of Midas, but it's a hero that also likes the attack speed a lot in the Arc Warden, so it just doesn't feel like EHOME's looking like they're getting scarier as they get closer to late game. All 3 of their heroes with Midas are like a semi-carries. The Tiny's got a Lotus Orb. Like, it's not like a bad item, but it just feels like somebody needs to try and scale. Like, go for like a dataless AC type build or something on Tiny. I don't know what the ideal build is, but I just don't think it's Lotus Orb.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Feels like they're lacking in a lot of these areas here for EHOME, and RNG doing a great job. I mean, again, it stems to the fact that they let Monet just have the time of his life on the map.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this game is, yeah, RNG have a good draft. They're outplaying their opponent. I don't think EHOME's making like crazy mistakes like we saw Vici Gaming doing earlier, but ultimately EHOME's draft has some issues that they're struggling to overcome. RNG smoked up. It is still nighttime.
Yeah, they'll spot Innocence. The Stormhammer comes out on a Flyby with a Nether Toxin as well as the Viper Strike, but the BKB is going to be popped afterwards. Flyby Backs off, and let's see if they go to re-engage. EHOME are actually sticking nearby. They've got Viper Strike again, so...
SF has the Requiem, BKB Requiem, so if he catches somebody in a Yules who doesn't have BKB, he could just instantly delete somebody. Or at least do a lot of damage. Like, this Venomancer only has 1400 health, so I think SF sees him, he's going in.
Hey, Ego would like to not have that happen again. Got absolutely destroyed.
Yep.
And without the BKB, you just know what's coming. You're spinning in the air, and you're like, yep, all right. This is it. Because there's no way out. I just... With 1400 health, it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah, that's... The level 3 Requiem deletes you.
So RNG again, just pressuring over bottom. They see Zhao 8. They also see Innocence. They're going to roam around the back. Flyby comes over with the silence coming through into the Coddle. Got the dome out as the Tempest Double trying to do all it can, and he finally runs down Tian Ming. And then they've got the Cyclone. They'll get the kill here on Innocence. They'll also take out Zhao 8. And now they'll look for Jingqiu with the BKB being popped by Flyby. They look over at Ego, who will also get Cycloned up. The Lotus Orb trying to do something, but there's the Requiem right over the top. They'll get themselves 4 kills, make it 5. Full team wipe here for RNG, and they lose nothing.
And they're going to push high ground very fast. Shadow Fiend plus Arc Warden, plenty of damage. They've got the bubble as well, so they're going to easily break through a lane of racks here. Can't get multiple because of these tier 2 towers, so it's likely just going to be a racks into like shrines, maybe a potential Roshan. And EHOME actually say we don't want to lose our racks. Let's buy back on Tinies in queue. What's his plan here? Maybe they actually will just, yeah, they may just only get a tier 3 tower because of this buyback now.
Avalanche Toss coming out. The Will-O-Wisp gets all 5, but they've got no Viper. They've got no Venomancer. The Illuminate comes through, doing a lot of damage on Alanum. Flyby hit with the Avalanche, then the Force Staff away. And while it was a great ult from Tian Ming, it was lacking the follow.
Yep, they'll hold their tier 3 tower even, with the help of the tiny Coddle. But ultimately, a little bit expensive. Now it's a 12k gold lead, and that is not what you want to see if you're an EHOME fan. RNG, on the other hand, had a great start to their day 2. They won their opening match today against Vici Gaming. They're looking good against EHOME here, and could suddenly find themselves in the winner bracket if they can keep this up.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody would have expected that with the teams that are here, but this is kind of what happens in, I would say, maybe non-DPC events. Things get a little bit weird, almost, where you're seeing results that maybe you're not expecting. But Setsu, oh. Zhao, he's also got the Hex, too. Let them come out real far. There's that ulti pop. There's the Hex. The Raze comes through. Not even going to need the Yule's Requiem. They'll get the kill. Everybody's here around him, and Zhao dead for yet another minute.
Well, that is not what you want to see, as they will make another go at this bottom lane. They're just finding pick after pick, and now Lanham finally has his Vlads. His poor 5-position Brewer has been trying to finish this Vlads for 30 minutes, and he's finally there. It's going to be daytime here, so we'll see if they still try and threaten high ground.
Avalanche Toss, Flyby, he's going to pop that BKB. He's got the Lotus Orb, a lot of things bouncing off of it, but they've got the Eels as well as the BKB. That's going to be the Requiem on top. They won't get the kill on a Jingqiu. The Razes come through. The ulti used by Ego. And see, it really doesn't do enough, but there's the Kato getting the Will-O-Wisp down. Unfortunately for him, everybody's kind of out of here. They'll use the Primal Split. Tian Ming in a little bit of trouble. They'll take the tier 3, and Ego eating a lot of damage with the Tempest Double continuing forward. Oh, Ego has to be so careful. And there's the Spark Wraith. Avalanche comes in. He was almost dead there beneath his tier 4s.
These Venom Wards doing a good job of just making it a bit annoying to push high ground, but RNG will be happy. You know, taking a tier 3, falling back, taking a shrine. They still haven't even bothered going for Roshan yet. They're not really in any rush. That's kind of, you know, they've got the BKB and Arc Warden now, and Aegis mixed in there as well is probably just about GG for this game, but now they'll play it slow, steadily, knowing they have the far better late game, as we've said again and again. It just nothing's really changing with the status quo here. The longer it goes, the worse it looks for EHOME.
Is there... What are the items that EHOME can pick up here to maybe change what we're thinking in this game kind of being over?
They need these BKBs to get short more than anything. I think you're already committed to this. We're not going to have any physical damage route, so you just try and hold out till these BKBs get down to 5 seconds. Viper's got a Kaya and Yasha queued up. I don't mind that. I think going for this Viper strike damage at level 20 will give them a lot of DPS out of the Viper. I think Venno with an Ag Scepter can give them some more damage, which would be really nice.
BKB for the Tempest double.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to lose it there, and he's almost killing Zhao 8 with it too. Get Zhao 8 very, very low.
But here comes the rest of the team. The BKB is going to be popped by the real Monet. Flyby coming over the top again, searching for Tian Ming. And they've got the silence on a couple of them. Setsu comes over. We'll get the Kona Tian Ming as well as Innocence going down. It's going to be 2 heroes dead on the side of EHOME as they'll get the buybacks immediately. The Requiem comes through. Ego, one more shot. Flyby again. Spots him. This is another great Will-O-Wisp with Jinkyu going in this time to get the kill on the Setsu. So he at least finds one. He pops the Lotus Orb, but he's low on health, trying to get out of this one with the Venomous Scale hitting on Alanum. They'll finally use that Primal Split. They'll get the kill here on to Innocence. He had bought back already, as did Jinkyu. They're both dead for quite some time and out of this game practically. Monet continuing to move on forward. They look over at Zhao 8. The Poison Touch comes out from Afu. Tian Ming sitting inside the trees. Not much he can do. As the Primal Split finally back to form will be Lanham. Ego trying to at least hold the game for now. They finally find Tian Ming. Monet ends up dropping. They look over at Flyby. The Viper Strike comes in. They'll attempt to TP out. Is the damage there? No. He escapes, and that costs so much for
He even bought a Fairy Fire in Fountain and got Graved. He wasn't even close to dying. He never dropped below 400 health, but a little bit of panic there from RNG in the Fountain, but what a convincing fight for them. That was like 7 kills or something. They did lose both carries, SF and Orc Warden, but considering all the kills they got with buybacks, that was a 7 for 2 team fight.
Yeah, 4 buybacks used there from EHOME.
The crazy thing is the gold chain actually was only like a 2k gold swing just because of how far ahead RNG are, and losing those 2 carries is a big gold swing. Monet gave 1800 gold. Holy shit. Ego's rich. It's only like, my buyback was worth it. I've got a new item now. His death, and I imagine SF's death was only 700, but yeah, Monet's death. I haven't seen 1800 gold kill in a long, long time, I feel.
Yeah, that is half an item. Something you want to pick up here, and it's going to be a heart.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the item is. Like, I'm a bit stuck about what item's going to change the game. I don't feel like heart's amazing, but I also don't know what stands out as being significantly better. I mentioned the Ag Scepter, but even that doesn't feel great when you're against Pipe, Greaves, Dazzle Heal. They've got a lot of sustain on this dire side, so he's going for sustain of his own. He says, I'll match your sustain with some of mine. And looking to survive against the... I think more than anything, this is against the SF, that Yule's Requiem combo. The heart actually gives him a way to get out of it. Well, at least to survive it.
The heart, and he also took the +7 Poison Nova duration, so... could you go Ags after the heart? He's still looking Shivas, but...
Could.
If he even has an opportunity.
The spell Lifesteal just doesn't feel that good when you're against burst damage, like the SF Requiem. You're not really getting much value out of spell Lifesteal.
Oh, the warding. Jinkyu doesn't get to the low ground. That's a huge problem. The Lotus Orb comes out, the Force Staff a little bit higher, but the Avalanche comes in on a flyby. He is lucky to get out of that.
I think they saw him blink and just assumed he was out. They didn't realize that he messed up his blink, because it was only Nightstalker who stood around. Shrine goes down, and they're poised to perhaps take Roshan now. No Shrine, full map control around the area. I don't think EHOME can easily contest Roshan, although they may still try to.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Just Monet in here, as cutting off the pass is RNG. not much they can do. It's not the quickest Roche at the moment, but as I say that, they finally send some others in there to make it much quicker.
This game gets tricky now. The Aegis coming to play. SF has level 25, so he's got that crazy cooldown reduction. He's got it with an Octarine core, so his like BKB 31-second cooldown, raises 4.5-second cooldown with the bonus 150 damage.
Oh my god, Jingq in a little bit of trouble. He's going to be hit with the Hex, trying to run away with the raises coming up with the Force Staff's going to put him closer to the tier 2 tower. He gets Force Staff back again with the BKB being popped by Flyby. Now, maybe EHOME looking to turn again. This is fighting into the Aegis. They'll get the toss here onto the Brewmaster. Lanham trying to get the Primal Split off. They've also got the Will-O-Wisp, so that keeps him inside, but the Primal Split will eventually come out with a Shallow Grave being used. It keeps him alive. They'll look to continue in towards this base as they take out the tier 2 tower mid. For right now, EHOME not losing anything, and as I say that, the Tempest Double doing a lot of damage here to Ego. Blink, Avalanche, toss back. BKB is going to be used. Flyby going in again. He's got the silence onto Ego and continuing on forward with the Void. We'll see what he's able to do is Jingq again, Force Staff back. Setsu, he tries to move forward. He pops that BKB pretty preemptively and doesn't really do much with it.
Eco, where are the kills at, man? What's going on?
That was a lot of everything for no kills.
Yeah, I want a team fight recap, but you don't get one if there's no kills. I feel like there was like 4 BKBs used, a Primal Split, several Viper Strikes, and yeah, all right, we're good. Nobody dies, and they got a tier 2 tower. Okay, that's uneventful.
For a game like this, where it's been pretty eventful the last 10 or so minutes, that was interesting to see everything kind of come out from both sides. And all right, well, you got my tier 2.
It's hard to kill these EHOME heroes because of all the Force Staffs. Like, Tiny gets caught out a little bit, but I like Night Stalker dropping his gem to try do some dewarding here. But once with all these Force Staffs, anyone who's caught out just gets like double, triple Force Staffed out of there, and it's tricky. RNG just don't have huge burst damage.
And they spot Flyby. He's going to pop his BKB immediately. They're in a little bit of a choke point, so they have to be careful. Setsu actually doesn't go in on this, but Monet nearby, so Spark Wraith placed down, and again, BKB.
They're just taking these out of towers and trying to deward the map. They take out more and more of this EHOME vision.
Flyby, he is putting himself in some interesting positions when he's looking to fight, and it's his ability to get over these obstacles and just come around the back. He had been focusing Tian Ming so many times in these fights.
Okay, he's going to pop the BKB on his Tempest Double, send it in. Doesn't seem to care about the duration on his double. And bounty runes coming up. So 4 bounty runes for RNG. That's kind of why that fight was essentially about getting the last outer tower and also securing these bounty runes, because getting 4 of them. We talked about how EHOME's just not scaling. Well, RNG, they've got some more items coming their way. They've increased that 18k gold lead to 24k now. It's just getting bigger and bigger. If every 5 minutes they get all 4 bounty runes by just good map control, you know, give it 10 more minutes and suddenly this is a 30k gold lead, then 35k, and then they've got another Aegis. Then at some point they have a refresher shard. So this game just gets more and more difficult as time goes on.
So Venomous Gale with the -8-second cooldown at level 10 for the Venomancer. He's now going into the Octarine core, so I mean, just trying to cut these cooldowns. And Poison Nova. 100 seconds at this point in the game is quite a bit for him, so this Octarine core not a bad choice.
It's pretty great. He's got the Arcane Rune with it bottled. His cooldowns are going to be absurdly low with this.
Oops. Yeah, Octarine core, Arcane Rune. 40% cooldown reduction. Oh my. I mean, that's a Requiem every 22.5 seconds.
Yeah. BKB 15.75. He's just gonna Requiem creep waves to farm if he wants.
Hex every 5.
What? 5-second cooldown hex? Oh. Holy shit, that's insane. I mean, this is like MSF sometimes. You just become the ultimate spellcaster.
Yeah, that was what we were kind of seeing with the Drow yesterday, with the 50% cooldown reduction, Arcane Rune, and like Octarine core.
I want to see some Dagon 5 or something in there. Get some more items that can give you spells to cast.
So the Tempest Double leading the way. And get the dome on top of them for a moment. They still have this Aegis, but it's, you know, very low.
Maybe now, I think.
There it is. So they waited out the Aegis.
Yeah, and the Aegis isn't super important. It's more important for RNG to get a good fight. And this Argorn actually has item slot issues. Him having the Aegis prevented him from having his MKB Daedalus in his item build, so I don't think he's actually going to be grabbing the next Aegis unless his buyback's down, for example. Could be good on the Night Stalker, he's often in the front lines. But their ability to high ground is somewhat lacking on this RNG side. So this gold lead, you know, it's starting to stagnate a bit as they can't fully break high ground. And EHOME are, you know, they're sticking in this one. These Midases, they are helping out a little bit here because all three of their cores are sitting on 20k net worth, which is still well behind RNG, but considering the state of this game, it's not something to be feeling too terrible about.
Xingqiu went Octarine core?
He got it with the Avalanche cooldown. Nice. 3.75 cooldown on Avalanche. That's actually pretty crazy.
Is it worth the extra 25% on that amount of gold spent?
Sure, why not? It's, you know, it's your tree grab, it's your toss as well. He's not... I mean, if he'd gone for a right-click damage build, I would have liked it, but at this point, he's got a Lotus Orb, and he's not going that way, so I think he's fine with the direction he's going. He even got the Avalanche damage at level 15, so...
Look at the wrap coming out from the side of RNG. Once again, the BKB is going to be popped. He goes after TM Ming. He'll get the Glimmer Cave off with the silences coming through, but he's going to end up dying. They'll go after Xingqiu, who's got the Lotus Orb popped, but he gets Requiemed and cleaned up by Setsu. They look over at Innocence. That's going to be 3 heroes. They'll buy back immediately here on to Innocence. At least try to hold or do something. But you don't have Xingqiu for 90 seconds. He just bought out on the Octarine core. And he's 600 gold short.
Is it worth the Octarine core? I think right now it's feeling like it's perhaps not.
The silences are on both the Viper as well as the Venomancers. They're continuing to just invade this base. They're past the racks. They've got the Euls once again onto the Viper. BKB is going to be popped one more time on Setsu. They'll corral them into the base. Zhao 8 almost dying. The Viper strike through on a flyby. Nether Toxin's going to be laid down. They'll finally get themselves at least one set of racks.
It's got another Requiem in 5.
Oh, Innocence. That's a dieback.
Losing at Megas here. This might be the game. They've just gotten too many kills, no buybacks. And the low cooldowns on SF means if they go back in, SF has another Blink Requiem with BKB.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's
Man.
middle barracks are under attack.
This is possibly the end here for EHOME. They still don't have Xingqiu for another 34 seconds, and they're going to lose Zhao 8. He does have buyback and will use it. The Will-O-Wisp comes out, but it's going to be immediately destroyed. The BKB being popped here by Setsu. And again, the Blinding Light comes through. But Ego on the run and no way out. He's also got buyback. BKB is going to be popped here by Zhao 8. Throws the Viper Strike here at Flyby. 12 seconds, so they've almost held out till Xingqiu is back.
Yeah, they don't have much to show for it, though.
And there's the Hex coming through, and for a moment, Setsu was broken, standing in the Nether Toxin. They finally get Xingqiu back. We'll see what they're able to do with that with the Viper Strike being thrown. Lanham, Avalanche toss. Let's see what they can do. Can they get the kill? He's low inside the base. The Avalanche comes out once again from Xingqiu to get the kill on Lanham. He's got himself buyback in 83 seconds. With the ulti being popped by Flyby one more time, but the Viper Strike is going to be thrown. Nether Toxin on 3 of these heroes. They've got the BKB as well as the Requiem coming in one more time. Setsu's going to be destroying TM Ming with the raises coming out onto a Hex Ego. They'll get the kill there. They'll take out Xingqiu. The only one alive is going to be Zhao 8, but now buying back will be Xingqiu. So he's back alive one more time with the GG being called by EHOME. It's not going to matter as Xingqiu continues to try and charge in. Exactly, Lanham. But there's no charging into this one successfully. He doesn't end up dying because the Ancient goes down after the GG call.
Oh, that was a pretty fun fight. I was just like watching the Shadow Fiend player perspective, and he's just zipping around all over the place. Like he's got so many buttons to push, spells and items on such short cooldown, and he does it so well. Setsu, we saw it earlier today when he played the OD, and here on the Shadow Fiend, he looks very good. Like he's making crazy plays. Monet, flawless game as a carry, but he's got, to me, it's like an easier job. You know, you're just sitting there, you're the right clicker. Setsu actually has to time all these spells and items to perfection. He was a pleasure to watch play Shadow Fiend here, and RNG get their 4th win of the group stage. These guys are killing it here, Beacon.
Yeah, technically, Liquid is only at 3-1. So, I mean, they're top of the group. This is very surprising.
Yep, the only team with 4 wins now. Liquid only have 1 loss though, so theoretically Liquid can still overtake them if they just win out. But I mean, 4 wins might be enough to get you in the upper bracket by itself, and they've still got one more game later today against IG, who is bottom of the table. So they've only got the weakest team left to play. RNG is most likely going to be in the upper bracket.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of a break here. One more best of one between them and another match. I don't see them getting knocked out of the upper bracket. Newbie still have to go up against Vici, which, depending on which Vici we see, because I feel like we've seen 2 different Vicis this entire tournament, I think Vici should win that and put Newbie down a little bit, but they also play IG last as well. So we'll see. I think it gives RNG certainly a great chance to be in the upper bracket, and for a team that's qualified for their first minor, their first DPC event, that's a lot of confidence coming out in a group stage with teams like Virtus Pro, EG, and Liquid, as well as EHOME and Vici. I mean, major competitors. So I think it's a big boost in confidence for RNG. We'll see if they can go through towards this IG matchup and finish it off strong, going 5-2. But that's it for this matchup right now. Coming up next will be Liquid versus EG. And that's the teams 1 and 2. So that's
a hype one.
Yeah, that's going to be an amazing matchup. And that's going to be coming up next. We'll be back with that in just a moment. Hope you guys are enjoying what's going on. How's it going down? And, well, we'll be back with this game or the next game in just a moment. So get yourself a drink. Get yourself maybe a little bit of food. And we'll see you guys in, hopefully not as long as the break was we had previously.